3, 2,
Whereabouts?
Good afternoon, my friends.
Oh, okay, here.
Romans, I don't know where you are. Countrymen, though, yes. Lend me your ears.
Tell the viewers we were chatting about Brisbane universities.
Brisbane universities, yeah. Welcome to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. Wednesday Words on Thundercloud. Mum calls me James. Welcome everybody who's here tonight. It's our last Wednesday Words of the year, the month, and the last Wednesday of this week. You got that? Yeah. All right. So yeah, it's just a nice little cozy one, and I'm going to do a bit of Harry Hooton.
Tell us a bit
poet
about
of
him.
the 21st century. I will in a moment. But before I do that, there's something. Sometimes I practice a bit of karaoke, and today I was doing Sounds of Silence, but not the Simon and Garfunkel version, the Disturbed version.
Oh, it's Disturbed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's begin by acknowledging the first custodians and traditional custodians of the land on which we broadcast, the Cafarella, the Bandway people, and acknowledge the continuing connection to the land of the elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge sovereignty has never been ceded. And there we go. Welcome, Saul. Come on in. All right, so on the note of what I want to do, I do want to grab the microphone, so I've got a nice sound happening for this one. Turn the bass up. All right. And I'm going to speak it because I wanted to slow it down because it's actually the words that I really liked and I wanted to focus on, not the singing. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams, I walked alone. Narrow streets of cobblestone, 'neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp, and my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light, I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs that voices never share. And no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fools, I said, you do not know. Silence, like a cancer, grows. Hear my words, that I might teach you. Take my arms, that I might reach you. But my words, like silent Raindrops fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they'd made. And the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was forming. And the sign said, "The words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and the tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence." Yeah, now YouTube will probably cut that out or say that's copyrighted, but anyway, it is, and it belongs to whoever wrote it, Simon and Garfunkel or whatever.
No, you're all right because you're saying it.
Okay.
If you'd been singing it, your copyright law would have kicked in. But it doesn't if you say it.
Okay, maybe the music, but I don't know. They might pick it up with their Shazam.
Well, the music would be more the
Yeah.
what's his name, the other band guy who made it really popular.
Oh, so if I recommend a piece of music or something, you just go to YouTube and watch it.
No.
They cut that out, do they?
No. It's
If
Rob
you perform.
Rob and them the other night did one of their songs was copyrighted.
I see. Yeah.
And YouTube picks it up somehow and says it's copyrighted. It doesn't affect it or anything like that, but anyway. All right, so Harry Hooton was born in 1908 and died in 1961, aged 52. He was pretty scorned by the Australian literary establishment, and his influential magazine 21st Century helped bridge the gap between new writing in the United States and in Australia. So yeah, he's quite well recognised in the US.
My father was a good friend of his.
Wow,
Yeah.
cool. Well, have to find out more from that.
Down in Sydney
Yeah,
stuff, you know.
awesome. So Hooton's philosophy was self-styled anarcho-technocracy, power over things and the dictatorship of art, which was expressed in both poetry and essays, published throughout the 1940s and 50s. This selection by Sasha's Soldato marks the first appearance of Harry Hooton in book form for 25 years, but this is collected poems, and in this you've even got like a lot of his anarcho-technocrat writings, jazz and mechanisation,
He was a philosopher most of all.
Most of all, he was a philosopher, absolutely, yeah. So, like one of his things here, quote, altruism is greater selfishness. Yeah, that's the virtue signalling altruism, I guess, yeah. All right, so I've got 3 poems I'm going to read out from Harry, and it's actually one is called These Poets, and then there's Poetry and Leave Yourself Alone.
Is that what falls off the poetry?
Yeah.
Believe
So
yourself
the first one, These Poets. Why do they cry, these poets, for their lost love? For the moon, for death, for the talents that they've misused, the gifts they threw away, for wasted lives and misspent youths, outworn creeds and rusty truths, against innovation and the light of day. Thank God that moping maudlin moonlight nights at understanding sunlight melt with tears away. The course of youth will chase these mournful music makers, not with mild persuasive chatter, but with history writ in blood, intolerant reason sweep away the flood of harmless chatterers who do not matter, the nearly right, but nonetheless the mischief makers. While you wait a million years awaiting to spill their secrets into eager ears, and while they wait, a million mouths are muttering, prating their puerile poems of fearful tears, wasting their time and words on growths, nuances, phrases. Backstreams of fancy where the surge of life is lost, wooing their soul's stagnation and decay. But saints must compromise with evil passion, and truth must fashion life with rotten lies, and intellect must grovel to the clod, while in a bog the bullfrog chorus quickens until it sickens with the vomited rhyme of pretty, pretty parodies in praise of God.
Oh.
That's the problem.
Well, so yeah, it's a bit of a comment on the poets. All right, well, here's a comment on poetry now from Harry Hooton, poet of the 21st century. That's the title of the book, actually, too. Poet of the 21st century, Harry Hooton, collected poems. Yeah. So this is Harry Hooton on poetry. There are no rules for poetry. Necessity makes and breaks all rules. There's a world of living men you can't rule, and a world of dead machines you can rule, and a new world awaiting its builder, the poet, who is the exception to all rules, who is the rule. And there is a host of lawyers, accountants, waiting until this world is built, opposing the building while it's being built, but waiting to account for it with more rules, their rules. And they will give you the rules for how to build a new world, but similar to the old one, they know best when the old is superseded, though they will cling to the old one long after they're not needed. In any world, they'll tell you and you'll never build anything without their rules. And they lie. They're wrong. For there was never anything worthwhile made yet, but by its own rules. So, despite all rules, preceding rules, get in and write poetry. And then, but not till then, study the rules of your poetry has made. But then, suppose what you had written was not a poem, but a prose. Suppose it were a statement or a cry or an utterance, a great utterance with guts or gutterance, or a scientific thesis or mathematical formula or musical score. Or supposing it was more than poetry, some new thing from the future without name. Oh, shame. What did you say, Pope? Whatever is trite. By Christ, you're right. What is necessary is what isn't poetry today. Rules, rhyme, rhythm, metre are not necessary to poetry, but oh, how necessary poetry is to these.
Can you just give us the last line again? Very interesting, isn't it?
But oh, how necessary poetry is to these.
Thank you.
Oh.
It finishes with
Paul's
very
bought the poison food to make everyone fat and sick. All right.
peanuts.
Now, piss off with that, Paul. Come on, sit down and behave yourself.
I thought
Leave
Harry.
your... Actually, this one I've chosen is for Paul. Here we go. There's a chair, Paul.
I thought Harry's butler had arrived.
No,
When Paul arrived.
it's called Leave Yourself Alone.
No, he's butler.
Leave yourself alone. You're not the enemy. Only regulate the vegetable mineral. Only dictate to all the animals. You are the king, the Lord of the universe. There's nothing wrong with you. Leave yourself alone. Let yourself go. You're not a cart horse. Why the curb, the bit? Why chains and kennels? You're not a dog to obey. You give orders. You're not some wild beast at bay. You are divinity, enthroned in the flesh. Why don't you leave yourself alone? Let others go. You're not a moron. Everything they do adds to variety. They, with you, are parts of the deity. Let us together rule over the animals, the world, and the machines. Let us go.
Wow.
That for me, that has a bit of sort of Buddhist Zen philosophy within it, you know.
I was thinking he's very Nietzschean in some way too.
In that way as well, yeah. Well, yeah.
Give us another one.
You can see
Give
how
us
it's,
another one.
Well, the
So
next one,
entertaining.
if I was, I'd do Law and Order.
you can see how the hippie movement started.
Law and Order.
He's very entertaining.
But then the next one is War and Order after that, see? And then Great War, I Dream of Fire.
He was funny, you know.
That Leave Yourself Alone, I really like that one, that's why I chose it. Law and Order. There are 3 stages of history. When the stars rule men, this is religion. When men rule men, this is politics. And when men rule machines, this is anarchy. I am against the rules of man, art, nature when they apply to me. But I am for all rules, laws, lies, forms, formulas, generalisations when I'm dealing with death. The world of static steel, which science discovers, dies in our understanding. But man, the understander, will never be understood. Will not stand still to be studied. Will move on ever, warm, elusive, alive. Rule the world, comrades, lovers, it is dead. It can be ruled, measured, studied, understood. How can man know man? How can ruler rule over his own heart, mind, spirit, flesh, blood? How well can we rule, measure, apportion the poems whence life has fled? How well can be led the slave automatons of rhyme, rhythm, meter? How well can we leave to their scansions the lips of the widely read? Who can make laws? Who can set limits, walls, prisons to man? Man is the law, the Lord, the lawyer and warder. And who would attempt to make rules for poets, for the makers, save the dead who try to rule the living in this world of war and order? Oh, leave their world, comrades, lovers, with its words, It is dead. It has been used, abused, defiled, has been done. We must do something new. There was time when life and sun and air were new. To see, breathe, love was new, was rare. Oh, forget those verbs and predicates. Infinities are infinite, but only new infinities are fair. Friends, let new lusts, seas, skies tear the tears from new eyes or testicles. Let us breathe fresh air. Look down, creators, on the stars, on the suns, cities, atoms in our hands. Let creatures look up to the vulgar divinity in life. Let submen submit, stand under, understand, overstand, stand over, as supermen exercise that life on death. How can the eyes see the eyes, or the stander his stance? Let us see and stand as the sun in secure extravagance. Let us move as monarchs move, sure in arrogance. Let us love as gods love, to the lure of new romance. Let us take and make our will the forces of death in life, and break up this idiot dance. Oh, break their laws, lies, prisms, prisons for the light to be. Smash down the barriers and bonds between man and man. Let the divine last on the other things that man beat free. Live and let live. Find new lives, lines, mechanisms on which to breed. Let all present needs of sunshine, air be free, forgotten and unheeded. Let us, for the next harvest, find soil and seed. Life is anticipation, endlessly ahead. The flavour of each full mouth is that of the next. Each push to the orgasm is the next. And what is the orgasm but the sigh? Can we grasp anything at all but death? Well, grasp it then. Embrace it. Seduce it. Bring it to life. Lift the world, comrades, lovers. It is dead.
Cool. Very informative. It is over.
Harry. Your dad had to listen to this?
Oh, lovely.
I'm afraid so.
I thought it was really nice. Like, nice piece of writing.
Oh yeah,
The
I thought it
sentiment.
fascinating.
Mm.
The Yanks were fascinated by it.
Well, no doubt. It would have been really anti, like, right the other end of where they were at the time, I guess. Or some of them.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Well,
Gabriel,
they
would you like
also
to
have
come on
all
up?
the files on them.
Tell us what you think of Harry Hooton, Gabriel.
Well, I was in the toilet for 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
So I can't
Never
remember.
mind. Oh, that's a Harry Hooton comment.
I must have resonated.
Very good.
Thanks very much, James. That was very interesting.
Thanks, you're
I
welcome.
thought you'd read him well. Bloody Harry.
3 poems. Can you hear? Yes. Ashley very kindly lent me his David Malouf book, and it's not love at first sight, but we'll have a second date. So I'm going to read 2 of his most famous poems, and then one that I did last week myself. First one of the Maloof ones is called Asphodel. Under this real estate, squared street on street of split level houses with carport, garden swing, a chain of water lily ponds, arm of a sea that has long since receded, still sleeps under the still sleep of this suburb, showing itself in flashes after rain. We used to spend whole days here skylarking on an inch of blood red water. We harried black marsh birds through weed thick shallows, moonrose, heavy beneath us. It tugged at our heels. Now kids swing between pines. Small limbs at nightfall shine in the trees. And once I almost drowned, stepping from clear skies ankle deep into eons of mud. I gaped. The earth rushed in. From the clamorous bottom of the night, I saw my life of now I lay me down, and milk and clean sheets out of reach on the lily pond's black surface. An angel plucked me out. Face down in the blady grass and pummeled alive again, I gagged on unfamiliar breath. My belly's mud gave up its frog spawn, water spouts, and cataclysms broke from my lungs. Filled a moment with its strangeness, I discovered a lifelong taste for earth. Gills flared at my throat. Plant fossils sprouted in my thumbs. Now the pond is drained. Petrol bowsers mark the spot where twice I took my small life down to touch the kingdom of fish bones and came up again. Lawn sprinklers turn. Station wagons cruise under the leaves. Overhead through bars of moon-washed cloud rack, the night lights of plains. I like that more now, ready to go.
Ah, brilliant poem. Molto bene, molto bene.
And
Brilliant poem.
there's a lot in it, isn't there?
Great writing.
Nice and dense. Then the next one is another very famous one of his called First Things Last. And the poem is collected into stanzas, and I think the number of the stanzas actually is quite important. I'm going to tell you each time I change the number, because it's like an extra punctuation. So here's block one. The room on all sides viewless, as if breathed on glass. Your cries appear, ice crystals click, a dense fog seeps in. These are the fittings of a clean, fluorescent, flat, unhappy country. Its walls are soft, they melt through you. Lift an arm and weightless, it drifts off. Other parts of your body are off elsewhere. You walk out, over. Careful, don't cut yourself, the dream is red. Soft breakers tipped with glass. Only the instruments are keen with a view to business. They are unpacked from a black bag, animal. The hands that use them are also animal and interested. Hot for blood, they start over the dazzling absolute ice towards you, bringing night. Block 2. Behind you in the glass, a slow hand effaces the room, wipes out lake mist and forest. Your smile fades over the sill. When the mirror clears, no one stands in the wet field that peels from its surface. You stare and stare. It takes days of accounting for each hair on your head, each grain of dust to imagine yourself back into the frame. You argue with the sky in your mouth. You breathe out clouds. Get them moving behind you. They lift the grass. A little night wind arrives at your skin. Slowly, you manage your head into the room. If you can glue a face back on it, you win. Block 3. We've all been in there. How we got out, what passed, how long we stayed, is a black hole. Or many in the fabric, amnesias and pits we tumbled into, deep as first breath or the long drop where we missed a step that wasn't there. Whole stars are swallowed at a gulp, they shine as velvet intermissions, holes with a history. Those who come back don't know that they have been there and have nothing to tell. Such open occasions in the net are the shadows of spilt milk, black, that spirals upward. The angel's preliminary sneeze sucked inside out. Last block, block 4. Laying the small bones out in rows for the moon to suck. We call this living from one day to the next. To lie tight-wrapped in butcher's paper and bleed events. You all know this one, it's learning from history. You mount a bicycle without wheels. What falls away as you pedal uphill? The joys of the flesh. The styles are as many as the players. Strict rules apply and can be broken. Nobody wins. That's nice as well, isn't it? Yes,
How
that,
fascinating. It
Yeah.
reminded me of De Chirico. I could see him there on the wall behind it, sketching shapes.
yeah.
Bit mad, that poem though.
But again, dense with a lot of resonance. I like concentrated poems. And that's it. So yeah, thanks for lending me that because
Read John it. Do read John it.
Where's David Malouf from?
Brisbane.
That's what I thought from that first one. Yeah.
And so that last one mentioned holes. This one of mine, the usual work in progress, is called Holy Holes. And it's about how the things that I remember most vividly aren't actually from life, but more the things that go alongside life, like songs and films, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. My deepest, warmest memories are on the banks of my life's river. My river life that meanders still. I must swim there as I shiver. Frog, not fish, I jump ashore. From time to time outing. The banks are holidays from life, a better world with no accounting. I'm an accountant. On the banks, my very best moments, here below confessed. My mates all coming in the OTC, Officers Training Corps, on our first firing of Charge 3, kind of artillery thing. And that means, that's meant literally. Half out of life, with mouth all mute, my legs untangling parachute. Only once, one trip on acid, rolled my soil flat and placid. I felt I'd never before seen real flowers when first shown the orchids entangling towers. Suns lit up and I cried unbidden as our bars passed by some davening yidden. From China's West Lake I still can see a real partridge in a real pear tree. One dance in Zhuhai, moving, mad, was better than all the sex I'd had, and I've done quite a lot. In the occasional holy place, I really felt a state of grace. For these 8 memories I give thanks. This frog sometimes can reach the banks, just outside life's dark flowing brook, not stained by its depressing hook. That's weak. Moments making life worth living, though not what daily life was giving. I think of them as holy holes, through which we can feel our souls. The end.
Real partridge, yeah, real pear tree.
It's really true that.
Yeah, that's the lovely, yeah.
You didn't say you were a gunnery officer, did you? Or you did
I was,
gunnery training?
Still at university, I didn't know what the hell to do, so I thought I'd try a bit of everything, including that.
But you didn't finish the training, did you?
That's what you mean by finished. I graduated, got a degree.
Were you a gunnery officer?
All right, let's move it right along because we're recording this. Come on, quit the chit chat. 2022, Mulga Bill, what happened? 2022. It was Mulga Bill from Eagle Hawk who caught the cycling craze. Sold his e-scooter on Gumtree, which had served him many days. Dressed himself in lycra, the colour of his cycling team, and sat around in coffee shops just so he could be seen. He walked into a cycling shop and said, I want a bike of carbon fibre with, you know, those fast wheels, and red's the colour I like. He wheeled his new bike out the door and didn't get too far because he stuck it on a rack on top of his SUV car. That's it.
Did you write that?
Yeah,
Did
just
you
this
write
week.
that?
Yeah.
When did you write that?
5 days ago. Yeah.
It's funny. It's sexy.
Probably not even that long ago. 3 days ago, yeah.
Sexy.
Yeah, it's your normal, cycle pants, yeah.
Christmas Day.
Must have been, yeah.
Gee, that Mulga Bill's travelled a long way.
Oh, he sure has. Well, welcome back, Larry.
Yeah, thanks.
Great to see you, Larry.
The redoubtable.
Larry.
Test. I'm not sure, but I probably need a bit of a preamble for this one, because I'm sort of covering hundreds of thousands of years in 2 pages. So to be able to follow it, I'm hoping you can. It's what inspired me was the just how we embrace stuff that just doesn't really apply to us. And I was just one of those kids, like I used to say to Mum, how come there's all these snow pictures on the Christmas cards, it's as hot as buggery. And what's it all about? And it's like a seesaw, they've worked it out. You can't have both sides up at the same time, and you can't have both sides down at the same time, or it's a broken seesaw. So this is you've got to sort of transport yourself to the northern hemisphere, I guess, for this one. So the days are getting longer, and spring is on its way. The festival is over. It finished the other day. No more gambling, orgies, or drunken display, nakedness, or role reversal, or any other moral decay. They thanked the god Saturn to get them through the winter nights, and they hoped and prayed the crops they plant that they'll turn out all right. Now Saturn was a bit of a paranoid god. He once heard on the street that one of his kids would try to take over, so he would eat them, even their feet. So worship of Saturn was quite often based in fear, and sacrifices were offered to him, or so I hear. So being scared of this god would only get them so far, so Saturn became Santa. Yes, it seems quite bizarre. He's known by other names like Old Father Time, and because he carried a sickle, also known as the Reaper. Sorry, that don't rhyme. Some called him the god of death, and in a way it's true. Just look back how quick the credit card is maxed out and how far it's overdue. It's the death of our savings, but they couldn't give a hoot. Just keep making payments or you'll get the boot. So happy Saturnalia, everyone. We've got a year to pay it off. Just keep making payments. Or until we realise what it's all about, and then we'll just scoff. Oh, that's it. I can do you another one. It's got a swear word in it, but I'll tone it down. And it's a good one for Anzac Day, really.
You can do anything with the swear word in it.
No, I'd rather not.
That's up to you.
Yeah.
You can be your own.
So I've got to get the pirate voice. Oh.
What's a pirate's favourite letter?
Ah.
Oh, a pirate be in love with the sea.
Oh.
I see.
I see. How's it start? So the battle lines were drawn across the human heart. Let's face it, the dotted lines were there from the very start. We went away as men, but came back as boys. Some of us jumped up and down, made noise and bought toys. But some of us created a little bit of disorder. Because you can stick it up your jumper, you New World Order. Thank you. Back to you, James.
Have you got another one? Come on, Larry.
Give us the third one. Give us the third.
That's a
I just fill in for James. I'm a fake Silver James. I'm a James Prince. I'm a James wannabe.
Go stop the camera. Don't stop the camera.
Sing us a
Okay.
song.
No, I just sort of just gesticulate and just make comment about things until James comes back. I just to fill in. I just
Hooton.
no, I just filling in a bit of time and hoping that James will come back soon and MC
I always
and look after us and keep this show rolling. Because I can't do that.
Time must be a hole.
Now come on, put your hands together. Here comes our good MC. Here's Mr. Jones.
Bloody Harry. Harry Hooton's ghost here tonight.
Yeah. All right. So.
Oh.
No, you're up there, son.
Come on, Harry.
Mine's about to die.
Tell us a bit about your dad and Harry.
Oh, I don't know too much other than
They were good friends.
like, yeah. Hello, everyone. Yeah, my mum sort of as well. I used to just, main thing I know about, like, he died like when I was 4 years old or something, so I know nothing. But, you know, it was always, oh, Harry used to say this sort of thing, or Harry used to say this sort of thing, oh yeah, you know, that sort of stuff, you know. Because as you can probably tell by his poetry, his conversations were pretty good. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, what have I got? I was gonna, I just wrote this one sort of, this unedited and everything, so it's just a little ramble, really short sort of a thing. But taking sides. Think, it's time of changing mind, breaking through, telling tales of truth as known, life unfolds. Aspirations crucifying fleeting moments, ships in the night, sirens sing such beautiful lies. Live in heaven? Seize the day. Unbound universe invites the mind to look beyond the mind. Yeah, there's that one, and I might do in there. So you just have to give me a moment to find it. The key word, you know, is Medusa. Medusa. Okay. Done this one before, and this is sort of those nights where you sort of maybe get a little enamoured and things go on, and then the night seems to be over and you're sort of scratching your head going, So, no punchline. It seems I have no punchline. I stir in my chair, flattery spills from my lips. Oh, what can I do? My hots are getting way too hot. How do I see me through? It's so vital, yet so frail, when we deal with our hearts, stripped bare so tenderly our thought. Oh, where am I? Ah, yeah, I see. So I'm reading my preamble. My thoughts tonight as I am lying in my bed extend to you in imaginings running naked through my head. The hots I have for you right now leave the tinderbox to shame. I blame your lips, your eyes, your gorgeous breasts, and your super sexy brain. Luscious, lusty locks of hair, like Medusa's stare, turn my pillar into stone, my desire all laid bare. Alas, I realise the little good it does for you if you were to have a mind to share. For it seems I have no punchline, for I am here and you, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh, passion. Passion off.
I'm right here, Saul.
Oh, that's funny.
This one's sort of another one of my sort of social comment, climate change sort of things. So, here we go. Wake up! Wake up! The house is on fire!
Oh my God.
Fire in the valley, smoke in our eyes. The world is overheating. nowhere to hide. Temperature rising, like it or not. Fossil fuel industry making it so hot. The weather is fine, it's money that rules, lining their pockets, playing us for fools. Our honourable members telling us lies, pulling the wool down over our eyes. Blind to the burning, death in the cries, eyes filled with tears, fire in the skies. Stand up and be counted. Who are you going to believe? The man who holds a piece of coal in his hands or the fire in the trees? How dare you keep dumbing us down? Our illustrious leaders keep dumbing us down, keep dumbing us down, keep dumbing us down. How dare you keep dumbing us down? Our illustrious leaders keep dumbing us down. They keep dumbing us down. They keep dumbing us down. How dare you keep dumbing us down? You know it's a plan, and they keep dumbing us down.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saul. Saul bearing his soul, bearing his soul.
I tend to see that good.
Yeah.
See this sleeve? That's all I have.
Sorry, I can't make a
I don't know, Siri. I don't know about Siri.
Voices
Look,
from
here's, look. I know Larry was having a go at Santa before, so here's another one having a go at Santa. Merry Christmas and a big applause for all the hard work of Santa Claus. How on earth do you get through Christmas with all the beer and cookies that people leave you? Dressed as Coca-Cola in a silly hat. No friggin' wonder you're so friggin' fat. I've often wondered if you're queer. You get pulled by a red-nosed reindeer. I know you like children and big hoes, but Santa, you're not supposed to touch those. In a flash red sleigh, I see you zooming, but seriously, isn't giving children presents grooming?
And you finished to write that.
2 days ago. Yeah. All right, well, look, I would love to invite Paul up. I think we'll bring Paul on up.
You're a hero of the English language, James.
Just don't touch the camera tonight, Paul.
He's creeping up behind again.
Here's your 5 weeks coming up now. I'll give me a great band.
Thank you.
It's still going.
He didn't touch it. He was rude.
I think I need to get tap shoes.
Yeah, touch. Yeah, yes, that'd be great. Sound good. I'd like to see you do that. I love tap.
I'm looking at Gotti tonight, ladies and gentlemen. But that's not a story. Now I'd normally get up here and start spraying on about opera, classic movies.
Harry Hooton.
Who? She's heard a voice from afar. And I'd normally get up and spray about the bel canto era of opera, talk about the tenors, talk about the sopranos, our favourite mezzo, and things that wouldn't interest James. But what I'm going to let you off the hook tonight, boy. No comment. Nothing to burr James up and send Ashley to sleep. No, actually, he's very, hangs on every word. I know he's a great fan of all the propaganda I've put up here over the years, but anyway. Just give a big shout out to all the people out there in TV land to watch the show. My sister Julie, Misha, Johnny, Marty, Caroline, and all the millions of fans, all my fans out there that tune in every Wednesday and don't miss anything. Now, seeing as now I sort of turned up last week for the Christmas show, but I thought it was going to be a bit of a smoko and had a few songs, but I let a couple go. But I thought James cut them off, but now I'm told that I was so raucous on the camera that I turned myself off. So what I might do for the benefit of all those millions of people out there that love the show and don't want to miss anything, I might do the songs again. I don't know. Now at the risk of boring everyone and sending everyone to sleep, I might do Go Wassail. Now, as I told you before, the wassail was where the poor people, the yeomen, visited upon the gentry, upon the aristocracy, and on the lower ranks of monarchy. In the pre-industrial age of England, very interesting time. I was there, Saul.
I think we all were one way or another.
Yeah, more or less, yes. So, and so what the poor folk did, they had one chance a year to get a shilling in their cup, or a sixpence. And so, what they did, they scrounged in they could find, made cakes, and then took lanterns down the streets in the freezing cold and sang outside the rich people's windows and hoped that they could get some hospitality and some money. And so that was called the wassail. And this song is called the Go Wassail. Now I know you've heard it before, but would anybody like to hear it again?
Yeah. Come on.
Wassail, wassail.
And we're going to sound like millions.
The Professor's ambivalent, and I'm pretty nervous because he's a good critic.
I don't know. Are you rich or poor?
Huh?
I said, are you rich or poor? Do I go at this?
Oh, that's all right. Thanks, Saul. All right. Okay. This one's called the Go Wassail, and I have to set the scene, James, of merry old England, the freezing times of the late, shall we say, medieval era, maybe up to Victoria. I'm raving on. Now I'm raving on because I can't remember the first word. I can't just go. I'm just bullshitting again. If you took away the bullshit, there wouldn't be much content. Okay. This one's called Go Wassail. Go wassail throughout the town. Our cup it is white and the ale it is brown. Our wassail is made from the good island cake. Come nutmeg and ginger, the best we could bake. Oh, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the dee. All the dad, all the daddy, sing to rely, oh. Our wassail is made from the elderberry bough, and so my good neighbour will drink unto thou. Besides all on earth, you'll have apples in store. Pray let us come in, 'cause it's cold by the door. Oh, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the dee. All the dad, oh, all the daddy, sing to rely, oh. We hope hope that your apple tree prospers and bear, so that we may have cider when we call next year. And where you have 1 barrel, we hope you have 10, so that we may have cider when we call again. Oh, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the dee. All the dad, oh, all the daddy sing to rely, oh. There's a master and a mistress sitting down by the fire, while we poor wassail boys stand here in the mire. Come you, pretty maid, with your silver-headed pen, pray open the door and let us come in. Oh, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the dee. All the dad, oh, all the daddy, sing to rely, oh. It's we poor wassail boys, so weary and cold, please drop some small silver into our bowl. And if we survive for another new year, perhaps we may call and see who does live here. Oh, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the dee. All the dad, oh, all the daddy, sing to rely, oh. We know by the moon that we are not too soon, and we know by the star that we are not too far, and we know by the sky that we are not too high, and we know by the ground that we are within sound. Oh, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the doll, the dee. All the dad, oh, all the daddy, sing to rely, oh.
Bravo, bravo.
Now that one never got to the camera last week, so that was a bit of a revision in a very revisionist house. And would you just like one more? Because I've not given a lecture on anything. And would you like another one?
Yes, give it a song.
Yes, yes.
Something about prison.
Yeah. I'm going to do that one about prison. Oh, you're looking right through my glass head and reading what's reflected on the back wall. Oh, I'm amazed. Okay. We're caught in a trap, like prisoners in a cage, growing all through hate, not through age. The run and love we had is down to a crow. We hardly ever talk and we never touch at all. You go out with someone else while I'm out with someone too. Then we come back to prison when we're through. Why don't we just stay out while we still can climb the wall? We hardly ever talk and we never touch at all. Are we afraid that we'll wind up alone? Is this the tie that keeps us hanging on? Why don't we just stay out while we still can climb the wall? We hardly ever talk and we never touch at all. We hardly ever talk and we never touch at all. And good night, folks! Come on, James. Come on down, James. I'll just stay for a few minutes after my big exit, because James is... Oh, here he is. Here's the James.
This is your bounce back tour, is it?
Yeah, sort of, yeah. It's a fizzer. It's just like picking up a wet cigarette out of a trough and having a puff. It doesn't quite
Jeez,
work.
I thought you'd go a bit more.
Oh no, let's move on. Okay. So what have I done this week? Hey, what does well, it's Christmas, you know, you pull a cracker, don't you? What does Prince Andrew do after he pulls a cracker? Pays her off. Ooh.
Where do you find these jokes, James?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. Yeah, I go looking for the most. I go looking for the most politically incorrect jokes. You want to hear? I can tell like white jokes. I can tell female jokes. I can tell fat jokes. I can tell. I could even make a joke.
Funny ones.
I could make. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done many of them. No. No. Like an old white man walks into a bar. The bar's really low, so it hits his shins. Doesn't make any effort to step over it. Instead, he just loudly complains that the bar used to be lower and it's not his fault he can't clear it, and it's society's fault everyone else is easily stepping over it and leaving him behind. That's the joke. Yeah, you get it. Saul gets it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Colour bar.
Exactly.
Highest the bar.
There's a few flies around at the moment. The other night there was one. This is what happened when you go to bed and there's flies. A fly was buzzing in the night, attracted to my smartphone light. But now it's gone. It gave me a scare. I gave it a scare. I shook my dreadlocks everywhere. I hear it buzzing all around the place. It wants to land upon my face. Buzzing, a fly attacks my glasses, circling for a number of passes. When my phone is off, you'll go away. So I don't really need fly spray, because you have an important job, putting shit into your gob. Oh, buzzing fly in the night, attracted to my smartphone light. I'll leave you alone if you leave me, but don't put your shitty feet on me. But I'm
Versafly.
Yeah. Now this one was and this one for the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, dedicated to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame's Christmas sort of wish thingy. Happy Christmas to Christians and happy holidays to others, the living and dead poets, brothers, sisters from other mothers. All the best from me, Thundercloud. Mum calls me James. Please like and follow the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. There's many events coming up in 2023, and if you follow the page, you'll be notified for free. That's it. Now, finally, then the next night there was another freaking fly. Stopped.
Hey James, you ever watch two flies dying on a blanket? It's enthralling.
No, but I've seen two flies
Just
fucking.
a comment.
Stop. Pause. Listen. A fly flew at my computer screen. I heard a fly. It's landed on my screen, attracted to the light as I write about a fly on my apple tonight. People are sleeping, flies buzzing, stopping, flying, then walking. Me, I'm just writing about a fly in the night. And the laughter of people I hear, celebrating with delight, like flies in the night attracted to the light. The fly is now gone, time's moved on. A cygnet becomes a swan, another year come and gone. Like flies, all life dies, pays a price as time flies, fast. A fly flies fast, time doesn't last, as a fly doesn't last. But the universe is vast. And on that, I'd like to invite Ashley up there to take us away.
Well,
Wow.
it have prompted me to say that James Warren is a versaflyer indeed. Why, he's writing some good joking stuff, is he not? Right now, must be the sublunary influences. Well, I did manage to remain coherent. Here are my three friends: hypothesis, implication, and parameter. They can speak for themselves.
I need to know, Ashley.
Now, Harry Hooton was a significant figure. ASIO had a file like that on him, and he was a fairly messianic character No doubt Margaret Finkelstein, who had oodles of treasure, used to wander around with his mum and dad over there. Oh, he's shaking his head. Saul's shaking his head.
I got 50 tickets to Luna Park from
From Margaret, did you, as a little kid? Tickets to Luna Park. So you're getting real Australian history here. Ladies and ladies, wherever you are in the world, wishing to not be so. Now, I will begin with a poem I wrote during James's potato soup. Somewhere in Australia, stands of rocks where a seed holds, little trunk, frail bumps, distended branches gnarled out through blister cold, burning hot, kangaroos, camels, eagle shadows just about to cross them. Somewhere in Australia. I sat down today and I thought, well, I'd like to read a poem that's a bit out of texture and hasn't been read here before, because it's Christmas or it's Easter and Christmas. They're the same thing in mythic consciousness or Christian consciousness. So I will read Yeats's great poem about Easter 1916, which seems to me very germane to this moment. I mentioned the other day that if you read Dutton's great autobiography, Geoffrey Dutton's Out in the Open, one of the themes is that between the wars, Australians of an intellectual bent and Catholics who pretended to have one would read the great Irish poet Yeats and get another angle on the Anglo-Realm Empire that they were very much part of in 1930. Do read Geoffrey Dutton's Out in the Open. It's a very illuminating book. Now, I looked up the meaning of myth after I read this in the park today, Yeats's poem Easter 1916, and I think it's reasonable to just give a frame to this reading. Myth is a traditional story, especially one concerning the early history of a people or explaining a social or natural phenomenon, often of a supernatural being. And the other thing that struck me is how relevant to all the readings and poetry of tonight this is, particularly perhaps the fly, a fly, a fly. Easter 1916, one of the great things written in English ever. Easter 1916. I have met them at close of day, coming with vivid faces from counter or desk among grey 18th century houses. I have passed with a nod of the head or polite meaningless words, or have lingered a while and said polite meaningless words, and thought before I had done of a mocking tale or a jibe to please a companion around the fire at the club, being certain that they and I but lived where motley is worn, all changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. That woman's days were spent in ignorant goodwill, her nights in argument until her voice grew shrill. What voice more sweet than hers? When young and beautiful, she rode to harriers. This man had kept a school and rode our winged horse. This other, his helper and friend, was coming into his force. He might have won fame in the end, so sensitive his nature seemed, so daring and sweet his thought. This other man I had dreamed, a drunken, vainglorious lout. He had done most bitter wrong to some who are near my heart, yet I number him in the song. He too has resigned his part in the casual comedy. He too has been changed in his turn, transformed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. Hearts with one purpose alone, through summer and winter seem enchanted to a stone, to trouble the living stream. The horse that comes from the road, the rider, the birds that range from cloud to tumbling cloud, minute by minute they change. A shadow of cloud on the stream changes minute by minute. Horse hoof slides on the brim, and a horse plashes within it. The long-legged moorhens dive, and hens to moorcocks call. Minute by minute they live, the stones in the midst of all. Too long a sacrifice can make a stone of the heart. Oh, when may it suffice, that is heaven's part, our part to murmur name upon name as a mother names her child, when sleep at last has come on limbs that had run wild. What is it but nightfall? No, not night but death. Was it needless death after all? For England may keep faith for all that is done and said. We know their dream enough to know they dreamed and are dead. And what if excess of love bewildered them till they died? I write it out in a verse, MacDonough and McBride and Connolly and Peirce. Now and in time to be, wherever green is worn, are changed utterly, a terrible beauty is born. September 25th, 1916. I hope Australians still read that poem and think about it. And I had to get to 70 sitting next to Mother of Duck Lagoon to quite see the painful ambivalences and equivocations in it. For a great Irish seer who spent most of his life sitting in London clubs, shattering about the spirits and watching the flames dance up on long winter afternoons. He was as much a Londoner as an Irishman. So maybe that makes the poem even more piquant and poignant. I will finish with a poem by dear Valerie Chubb from one of her books, When, What, How, When, and whatever she's written and put together. And she wouldn't object to me saying she's as English in her voice and tone as you can get, maybe even more so being on a veranda watching the birds of New England fly by. This is a poem called, the clock one. Maybe I'll stick to London 1938. She's a clever writer. She makes you laugh. Here it is, timetable. And I might finish with London 1938. Timetable by Valerie Chubb. Her nursery clock had hands that spun a lullaby, a song of moonbeams dancing on the counterpane. Moons and stars and planets skipped across the blue-black sky and dragged the infant day to light. The school bell rang her from her bed, and breakfast half digested stuffed her into class. The sun peeled off the hours that ticked and turned until the time arrived for her to take her leave. Her working clock made no pretense. It wasn't pretty, spat out forms and figures, accurate, precise. Days were parcelled into blocks, his time or hers, her time and his. Her present clock is unreliable, muddling dates, mistaking days. It's faster than a calendar and slower than the reading of a book. Each year comes round anew before she's fairly done with August, and never does she know where January goes. The clock that watches in the churchyard keeps a slow, unhurried pace, and sometimes stops to rest a little, counting seasons off like petals. From an everlasting daisy, no one sees the waywardness of hands lost for eternity at midnight. And to finish, London 1938. And I had another poem about London, but that can wait for another day. Poor old London, a scene of great empire, and now a city that waits, measuring its resources. Resourcefully, no doubt. London, 1938. It is grey, it is always grey, dark by 4 and cold. bone-chilling cold. Snow plumps the cloud-filled skies, lays white sheets over downtrodden pavements, softens the broken edge of a curb and smoke-stained wall. A sparrow's twiggy footprint dropped in yesterday's slush freezes into a transient permanency. A woman born last century and a child wrapped in her sister's coat clutch at each other's arms as they slip down to the corner store. In the alleyway, boys in hand-knit mufflers and broken-laced boots polish icy puddles, build magnificent slides. A carter yodels his private call sign and waits, blowing on mittened fingers, chilblained from too much costermongering. His horse's breath hangs on the frozen air like speech bubbles in a cartoon. The lamplighter totes his ladder lamp to lamp, street by street, whistling between cracked lips. Away in a manger, today is Christmas Eve, and tomorrow I shall be 7. So I presume she was born in 1931. And by the time the bombs were falling, she was 10 or 11 years old. So that's Valerie Chubb this evening. Thank you.
So I'm going to go back in time now to 2017. My book, Last in Nimbin, book 2 of Love and Last in Nimbin. I was just going to do 1 or 2 out of this, and then I thought, oh, look at that, and oh, look at that, and look at that, oh, look at that, look at that. Look, I've got one here called World Problems, but it's 3 pages, and I'm just going to do the first stanza. World Problems. Broken a fingernail, stained my white shirt. Oh, I've cracked my new smartphone. My feelings are hurt. Oh, I've run out of cling wrap. I've lost the keys to my Porsche. No milk in the fridge. First world problems, of course. Yeah. It was like, the third world problems is probably would be a bit triggery because like, it gets pretty violent. So yeah, that's probably just enough, just a one stanza of that one. Now there was something else I wanted to do in here and I don't know where I put it. Oh, this one's for you. I wrote this when I was travelling in my bus, right? Because, you know, you're sort of like homeless.
Well,
It's called refugee.
state of mind, really, isn't it?
It is a state of mind, yeah. For some people, they think you're homeless, yeah.
I think I'm not.
No, exactly. It's called refugee on
It's
your
a
planet.
van, that is.
Yeah, it's a home.
But I guess this was also written, at the time I'd been teaching a lot of refugees English so as a second language, so that's where this also comes from. Wandering free or refugee, person of no fixed address, moving about, homeless, layabout, vagabond, gypsies or guest, traveller or sailor, pilot of an oversized trailer, walking a very long way, never alone, the earth is our home and friends are not that far away. I don't know you, you're alien too, visiting this time, the first time. So, g'day to you, I'm alien too and I'm sure we'll get along fine. Just a nice little easy one, hey? Yeah. Now, this one, what I'm going to finish off with, I guess if you want the future to happen, you've got to visualise it. And when you want to visualise whatever that future, you've got to imagine the feeling of being there. So this was something I wrote in 2017, thinking, yeah, war's over, and we were getting less and less war, and yeah, suddenly we get this recent one. But look, there's this I think these days, like just my personal observations is that, and yeah, of course, my limited perception of the world from Gyra using social media, is that because of social media, there's more outrage about this war on both sides, and whether, you know, one or the other, people are just outraged and like about it, and why can't they just sit down and pull their fingers out of their asses and be like big boys and not fight and talk about it?
Are you talking about Yemen?
I'm talking about any wars, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it? That's,
Yeah, it's like shitting on a freshly cut lawn, you know. Someone's going to have to clean it up. Doesn't look nice.
They leave your will.
So I think my comment today and the joke was, what race has 99% of the people who want peace, 99.9% of people want peace, and 0.1% of people are making war? The human race.
Yeah. Make weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
They're the people.
So yeah, this was and I look at this book Lust in Nimbin, and my political thinking has changed, and I think as we grow and if we're if we're mature enough, we can always look at our beliefs critically and adjust them as new information comes to hand, instead of just going out and looking for stuff that confirms our bias.
Premature ejaculation.
Whatever. So yeah, this one is, I don't know what that means, but that's your problem, not mine.
Was that a statement, like?
A desire.
A fact.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so this one's called Legend of the Bomber Gun. Henceforth, the sleuth and warp was hest. No more warp, kiel est. Legend of the bomber gun. Peace now reigns, but the ribs were blood. Over there in future Earth, Father tells his son a story. Long ago, the ribs were blood. This story will be gory. Henceforth the sleuth and warp was hest. No more warp, kiel est. Legend of the bomber gun. Peace now reigns, but the ribs were blood. Wherein there came in a gust of whoosh, against no warps did he push the pushes, and their ribs of blood all lay down the bomber gun. The bomber gun, henceforth no gotten, but the ribs of blood are not forgotten. The peace now reigns, not the bomber gun. Warp's ribs of blood no longer run. Henceforth the sleuth and warp will never warp, kiel est, no more ever. Legend of the bomber gun. Peace now reigns. And the ribs of love were understood between the others. He said, hey warps, kiel me, your brother. The warps, they said, but why? But no, there's ribs of blood upon the snow. These bomber gun no need have gotten, but the ribs of blood are not forgotten. Wherein there came to heal the earth, where ribs now run clear, rainbow birth. Henceforth they stopped the ribs of blood, and the ribs now flowing ribs of love. Wherein to stop the bomber gun, the ribs of blood no longer run. Tell me, Dad, what's a bomber gun? 'Twas a machine to make the ribs of blood run, son. Henceforth the sleuth and warp was hest. No more warp, kiel est. Legend of the bomber gun. Ribs now flow clear, rainbow love. Part 2. Bullocksome flummoxed through the air, the sound of screaming everywhere, the smell of scorch upon the nose, the spruciousness that stained the clothes. Wherein the whooshed into the land, there was ribs of blood upon the sand, wherein the old, hey warps, yes you, these ribs of blood is killing you. The bomber gun is killing you. The warps answered, we don't want no more the ribs of blood, the bloody war. We do not think that war is funny, but we've invested lots of money. How can we stop the bomber gun so the ribs of blood no longer run? Warrender said, ground them down, make a big pile, far from town, ground them down, make no warp, destroy bomber guns forevermore. They pile the bomber guns up high, a giant zilla pile up to the sky. They took the biggest bomber gun, the very last unrusty one. Warrender flew above the pile, Warrender and the warps all smile, and they dropped the last big bomber gun, the very last unrusty one. And the bomber guns were never more. The rivers of blood, not on the shore. They stopped and never ran again. The warps all became good friends. Henceforth the sleuthen warp was hissed. A pile of molten metal was left. Warrender stopped the warp. Somehow they made robots, tools, homes and ploughs. No rivers of blood across the earth, just peace and love and new rebirth. Henceforth they stopped the bomber gun. The rivers of blood no longer run. The sleuthen warp was gone forever. The bomber gun careless, no, or ever. Warrender stopped the killing and fear. The bomber guns all disappear. Warrender left when the warp was over, and the rivers of blood washed from the clover. The grass was green, the snow was white. There was no bomber gun flashes at night, but locksome cleared from the sky. The singing birds were heard up high. The acrid scorch that left the nose. The rivers were clean to wash the clothes. Henceforth the sleuthen warp is hest. Warp no more careless. Legend of the bomber gun. Peace now reigns, and the ribs are no longer blood. Yeah, and that's it. But I'm not going to read number 3 because it's not well written, but I just want to, this is really funny. The warps were, this second paragraph, the warps were divided into 2 teams, the red and the blue, ununited it seems. Yeah, see the red and the blue.
Can you do your Mulga Bill again? Do you mind?
Oh, well, yeah, later on after I finish. All right, well, look, thank you very much, everybody, for coming along tonight. Everybody, you haven't got any, no. Okay, thank you, Larry, thank you, Saul, Gabriel, Paul, and Ashley. And, yeah, we'll look forward to seeing everybody in the new year, and have a happy and safe new year, and thanks for coming along tonight. All right.
Thanks, James.
Lots of love.
Thanks, James.
Yeah, give it, if you're on YouTube too, give it a thumbs up and whatever. Yeah, share it.
Next week will be next year, won't it?
It will be 2023.